Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing. Hey, welcome. So today's going to be kind of a different episode because we're going to be talking about, instead of like, here's a principle that's going to help you grow your Etsy shop, we're instead going to be talking about a tool that's going to help you grow your Etsy shop. And this tool is artificial intelligence. Now, before you're like, whoa, put my tinfoil hat on, get out of here. I want you to know that I'm not a big guy that is, into all this. And, I don't really, to be perfectly honest with you, the reason I don't live in America is that I really enjoy the quietness of the media where I am. I just don't really know about the economy and what's happening and stocks. And I just can kind of live a little bit more of a peaceful life. So it's not something that I'm afraid of or that maybe I should be, I guess is what I'm saying. But I'm very neutral, I guess is a good way to say it. So what happened is one of my clients about 2 weeks ago, they do podcasts every day. This client does. And they transcribe the podcast and then they give them to their content writers, and their content writers read the podcast and then write summaries from the podcast, and then they use those as short form content and YouTube reels and blog posts and all that kind of stuff. And I had heard that this client fired, of the 5 content writers he had, 4 of them, because he found that this ChatGPT was way more efficient, way better, way quicker, and could do so much more, and there was no cost to it whatsoever. And so he just kept one to kind of manage the AI, and then he's been using AI. And so, of course, my initial knee-jerk to that was like, oh, dude, you moron. You're going to have a computer writing all your stuff? This is going to look and sound terrible. So I kept following along and looking at his stuff, and I was like, man, this might have been better. It's pretty good. This is actually, I don't even recognize that this is written. I wouldn't even know he fired his team. You know what I mean? And so I was like, man, that's crazy. So then I started to look into it of like, well, what is this tool that he's using? And I used it to write a couple Instagram captions for me. And it did a really good job. So I would make this content and I'd be like, I don't really want to write the description for it. So I would just tell the AI, hey, this is what my content is. Can you write a description for me? And it would. And I literally copied and pasted these. I wasn't like, well, I need to edit this, or boy, that sounds like it was really good. So then I was kind of already kind of scratching my head, like, man, this is a pretty gnarly tool, and kind of put it on the back burner. And then during my my growth program this week, one of the things we were just kind of talking about was how to. What a big problem that Etsy shop owners have is they love to talk about their features and what they sell. So I sell this, and this is, what it does. But there's that step further, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast of well, people don't care what you sell. Nobody cares what you sell. They care about what your product's going to do for them. And so we were just kind of talking about that concept, and, a lot of that has to do with your tagline and just how can you say what it is that you bring or offer or sell, or what motivates you, or what it is you're trying to accomplish with your why and your goal and any of that. This is a very week one stuff we talk about. It's just kind of what are your goals, and do you actually have what it takes to reach those goals? Because anyone can say, well, I want to make $1 million in Etsy. Okay, well, let's reverse engineer how many products you need to sell to make $1 million. Or do you have the infrastructure to do that? And, oh, no, I don't. Well, great. Let's reevaluate our goals and look at what we can do, what we're comfortable with, what's realistic growth for us, and yada, yada, yada. So anyway, part of that is how can we condense what we sell into a better, more powerful way that A, motivates us, and B, motivates the buyer to take action. And so that involves why and core values and taglines and all that kind of stuff. So someone was promoting their tagline, and it was really, they had had a few of them. And I was like, man, these are really great. These are great taglines. And everyone else was kind of like, man, this is the hardest part. I'm just really racking my brain here. And this person did a great job. So I said to him, man, good for you. These are really great. And then they kind of said, well, I actually used an AI to help me write this. And that's when I was like, okay, I got it. And so we had kind of a conversation about it on the call, and I was like, I need to make a podcast episode about this because this is really great. So then I spent the next couple days kind of digging into it and testing it and trying different things. And literally I have all my chats open so I can see the things that I've asked it to do. And I'm going to go through some of these, and you're just going to be shocked on how powerful this tool is. And then we're going to relate it to how we can cut a crap ton of time out of your life and increase the amount of content and good content that you're providing. So let me read these to you. So one of the first tests I wanted to do was, how nitty gritty can this thing get? How specific can it get? So I thought I need to do something that is so weird that it would be crazy if this machine was able to write what I needed it to based on this weird topic. So I asked it to write me a guide on how to remove a sandwich from a VCR. This is what it said. Step 1, and it writes this in less than 10 seconds. So I hit enter and it immediately starts to write. It's crazy. So this is what it says. Turn off the VCR machine and unplug it from the power source. 2, open the door of the machine and remove any remaining sandwiches or packaging from the interior. 3, locate the tray or rack inside the machine and remove it from the machine. Step 4, carefully remove the sandwich from the tray or rack. 5, clean the track or array with warm soapy water or cloth or sponge. 6, wipe down the interior of the machine with a damp cloth to remove any crumbs or debris. 7, reinsert the tray and rack into the machine and plug it back in. 8, turn the machine back on and test it to ensure that it's working properly and before using it again. Pretty good, right? So yeah, sure, if I was a VCR repairman, I might say, well, there's some steps in there. Great, let's add those steps. Because if I'm the expert, I can say, well, let me add that. But what a great base to have. That literally gave me the template that I needed to just plug in. There's a guy that I used to do business with, and he drove me crazy because we used to say to him, hey, here's the ideas you need to grow. And he would always say, give me a blueprint, give me a skeleton, and I'll fill in the blanks. And so we'd always have to give him this, blueprint. All right, here's what this looks like. Here's what this looks like. And then he would fill in the blanks of everything that we're doing in his own voice and kind of, because he was the expert in the industry, so he was able to put his own stuff in there. And I feel like that's what this does, is it gives you the blueprint, and then you can take the blueprint and use your expert mind to then plug it in. But here's what's crazy about this, is that, I could say to this AI, hey, rewrite the whole thing for me. I didn't like this at all, and it would. Or I can say, hey, let's make some changes. So I said to it, hey, make some changes. And I said, rewrite this in a biblical voice. Again, I'm just trying to go for the most weird stuff just to see if this thing will bite. Here's what it said. Step 1, hark. Turn off the VCR machine and unplug it from the power source. 2, lo, open the door of the machine and remove any remaining sandwiches or packaging from the interior. Step 3, seek and thou shalt find the sandwich tray or rack inside the machine and remove it from the machine. Do you hear this? Just listen to how this ends. It says, Step 8, and the machine shall be turned on and tested to ensure it is working properly before using it again. Amen. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. So now that I kind of had this testimony of okay, this thing's pretty good, I thought, well, how can we make our Etsy shops better? So I asked Chat, I said, write me 3 reasons Etsy shop users should use GPT in their business. This is what it said. Number 1, improve product descriptions. GPT can help Etsy shop owners generate more compelling and accurate product descriptions, which can increase the likelihood of attracting potential customers and boosting their sales. Number 2, streamline content creation. GPT can assist with creating product listings, blog posts, and other types of content, which can save time and resources for shop owners. Number 3, enhancing SEO. GPT can also be used to generate keywords and tags that can help improve search engine optimization of an Etsy shop listings, making them more visible to potential customers. So I thought, well, let's break this down. Step 1 is improving product descriptions. Step 2 is streamlining content creation. And step 3 is enhancing SEO. So let's just take one at a time and use ChatGPT to do those 3 things. But before I jump into that, I did say to it, hey, can you write this in a more sophisticated way? And I'll just read one of them just so that you can get kind of the gist of it. So I'll read optimization 1. So it said optimization of search engine visibility. GPT can be employed to generate keywords and tags that are optimized for search engine algorithms, thereby increasing the visibility of an Etsy shop's listing and facilitating greater consumer reach. Pretty good, right? Now I'm going to read that same step 2, step 3, but this time I told ChatGPT, hey, can you actually write it at a first grade reading level? This is what it said. Step 3, finding people easier. GPT can help make words that make it easier for people to find your shop on the internet. This will help more people see your products. Isn't that crazy? Crazy that it can just go through and do that for me. So what they say, and this is just a little side note for you, is that you're supposed to write at a 3rd grade level. And they don't just say, yeah, this is best practice. They say it is proven time and time again that 3rd grade reading level is the highest consuming reading level, I guess. I don't know how to say that. Maybe I should ask ChatGPT to help me say that. But meaning that people buy the most when something's written at, or believe or follow. That's why a lot of people say Donald Trump was as successful as he was, because I think he speaks at a third grade reading level. That really works. And so it's wise for you anytime you're going to do anything, like especially blog posts, to maybe put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, can you actually write this at a third grade reading level, and have it kind of dumb down your writing a bit, or maybe improve it based on how well you write. Okay, so let's go through this again and look at step 1, step 2, step 3. So step 1 is improve product descriptions. So this is what I did with, and to not just sit here and be reading everything that the chatbot is telling me to do, I'll kind of just give you a summary of my experience as I did this. So I tried this in 2 different ways. The first way is I just took my product and I listed all of the things about it that I would want to know in a description. How big it was, how tall it was, how much it weighed, what's my shipping policy. I put a little bit about it, just of like, this is what I want my users to feel and be excited about. I want to, and then I put, like, I remember put emphasis on like that it's beautiful and well made and all this kind of stuff. And I said, can you write it as an Etsy description? Literally use the word Etsy description. And I hit it. It did a great job. Realistically, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 of how well it did it. And for me, that's think about how long it takes you to write a description for a brand new product that you're kind of proud of. We only really want to invest a portion of our time in descriptions, but descriptions need more time. So what if you had the ability to have someone give you an 8 out of 10 version of your thing, and all you had to do was make the edits? It's so nice for that reason. So then the next thing I did is I took someone else's listing. So I just decided I was going to look at watercolor painted fish. I think I've used that example before, and it's because I have a watercolor painted fish on my desk. I have like a beta fish that was painted in watercolor. It's really pretty. So I said, all right, let's say I'm going to be looking for watercolor painted fish. And so I went on Etsy and I searched one up and I found one that I liked, and I took that person's description and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, rewrite this description, but change, well, I actually have it. Let me pull it up really quick. I said, so I know exactly what I said. I said, rewrite this description, but with a 10 by 10 frame size. So that was the only thing I really wanted to change there, was a very small one. I said, I want a 10 by 10 because that's how I'm just, I don't really have one, but I'm just saying in my imagination, this is how big mine is. And I would say 8 out of 10. But this is the killer part of it, is that there's no way you would ever know that I just copied someone else's description and had it rewrite that description. There's not any similarities between it. It wasn't like, how we would do it. We would change a few words here and there. We would flip some sentences around. It's very different, but it's saying the same thing. It's really good at it. So then when it got done with it, I said, can you add watercolor? This is my exact way I said it to him. I said, add watercolor fish keywords throughout this description. And because before it didn't ever mention that mine was a watercolor. And so it then did it, and it added 2 watercolored keywords at the front and 2 water keywords at the bottom. But done correctly. I'll just read you the first sentence. This beautiful watercolor fine art print features 4 stunning watercolor fish. And then it tells you what the fish are. And it says, I envision them being as highly sought after by fishermen for their beauty. Their watercolor print is hand signed and dated by printed. Anyway, do you hear that? Both times it brought the key terms of watercolor, both in that and the beginning part. Really, really good. So again, would I copy and paste this directly in? No, I would make some edits. There were some things about it I thought, well, that doesn't really sound like me, or that sounds a little computery. But to make an edit as opposed to completely write. Now, imagine this. Imagine if you're jewelry or you sell something at high volume and you're making a digital print, you have all these things. You can copy your description, put it into ChatGPT, have it rewrite it, copy that, put it in your description. And then in your next one, take that one and say, rewrite this, and rewrite this, and rewrite this, and rewrite this. And essentially, you can be pumping all these different descriptions into your stuff without feeling like you're just copying and pasting the same description in all of your stuff. And so you're kind of giving that variety, and that it just could save you so much time. Let's just call it a spade here. So much time could be saved. And like I said, I don't think it's perfect, but 8 out of 10 to that you just have to edit, that's really, really nice. So now let's look at number 2, streamline content creation. So here's what it says. GPT can assist with creating product listings, blog posts, and other types of content which can help save time and resources for shop owners. So I shared with you that I have seen this and used this for my own Instagram, and yes, it has saved me a lot of time. And so I wanted to test longer form content, so like blogs or just, maybe YouTube scripts or something like that. So I decided to do a blog, and I said, all right, here it is. Write a blog post on why fish art can be calming for children. And based on what you're going to hear, I should have said in this, and I could easily say rewrite this instead, but I'm not going to. But anyway, I should have said hanging wall art. Why fish hanging wall art or fish art hung in a child's room can be more calming for children instead of how fish art, because it's going to talk about kids drawing it, but that's okay. Listen to this. Imagine if you sit down and say, I need to write this. This was written literally in 10 seconds. So how long would it take you to edit this as you're listening to this? How long would it take you to edit this to make it so that you'd feel comfortable putting it on your blog? My guess is 10 to 15 minutes. Listen to this. Fish are one of the most peaceful and serene creatures in the ocean. They swim gracefully through the water, creating a sense of calm and tranquility that can be soothing for children. This is why fish art can be such a powerful tool in helping children to relax and de-stress. One of the main benefits of fish art is that it allows children to focus on something other than their stressors. Whether it's a colorful tropical fish or a simple line drawing, fish art can be a distraction that allows children to take their minds off of their worries and focus on something more positive. This can help reduce anxiety and promote a sense of calm and well-being. Fish art can also be used as a form of meditation. Children can focus on the movement and color of the fish, allowing them to become fully immersed in their artwork. In the artwork. This can be a powerful tool for helping children to relax and unwind, and can even be used as a form of self-care. Another benefit of fish art is that it can be used to teach children about the ocean and the importance of conservation. Fish art can be used to illustrate the different types of fish that live in the ocean, and can also be used to teach children about the importance of protecting our oceans and the creatures that live within them. Fish art is a powerful tool for helping children to relax, de-stress, and learn about the ocean. Whether it's a colorful painting, a line drawing, or a simple sketch, fish art can be a powerful tool for helping children to find peace and tranquility in their lives. So yeah, I look at that and I think, well, it's a little hoaxy, but man, there's a lot of great stuff that I can use in this to write a great blog post. And I think with 10 or 15 minutes, I could come up with something really, really great, which in real life, this would probably take me over an hour to do. So that saved me a ton of time. It's just so nice to be able to say, here, give me the skeleton of what I need and let me edit instead of let me think about what to write about. Let me figure out the way I want to structure it. Let me figure out my 3 points. Let me figure out how long I want it to be. Like, just tell me and let me make edits. And that's what this tool is so great at. I do love the line in this that it came up with. It said this can help reduce anxiety and promote a sense of calm and well-being. Just like, if you take that, reduce anxiety and promote a sense of calm and well-being, you can pluck that out and say, like, write me a YouTube script on how having art, that of fish-based art in children's rooms will help them reduce anxiety and promote a sense of calm and well-being. And it would do a great job at that. And like, if I wanted to, which I could go in here and say to it, like, hey, can you actually do this instead? Or can you add keywords in here of these and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, thumbs up from Jared. This is going to save you a butt ton of time. And so whether you are putting your effort onto Instagram or you're putting blogs or you're creating content in some way or some form, you need help writing emails. Like, this is another one. Write me an email for a customer that just bought my fish art. It can do it. And then you just make the edits that are there. This is going to be something really, really, really useful for you. All right. The last one that ChatGPT told us that it can do for us is enhance our SEO or optimize our search engine visibility, if it, in a more sophisticated way, or in a first grade way, find people easier. So ChatGPT can also be used to generate keywords and tags that can help improve the search engine optimization of an Etsy shop listings, making them more visible and to potential customers. So I went in, and to stay true to our watercolor beta fish, I said, help me find keywords for a hand-painted watercolor beta fish picture, which is kind of a weird item. And it pulled up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it did 20. I could write in here right now, give me more, or find more like this, and it would get even further down. But here's what some of them that they pulled up. So obviously beta fish, hand-painted, watercolor, those are all ones, and these are like tags, right? And then it pulled up Siamese fighting fish as one of them. And I thought, yeah, I wouldn't have used that, but that's totally worth putting in my tags for sure. Home decor, fish tank art, pet fish art. Like, I thought this was pretty good. Tropical fish art, aquatic art. Yeah, these are great tags to have in my stuff. And so it's right. It can help you with this. And I even did at one point, where did that? I said, write a title for me. So I said, write me an Etsy title for my product. And then I put in quotation marks, blue watercolor fish painting. And then I said, use the keywords like betta fish, watercolor, blue and yellow, and abstract. It wrote, blue and yellow betta fish watercolor painting, abstract aquatic art. Which, it's okay. Good base. Good place to start. So then I can sprinkle in some more keywords in there. So I would say this is just missing more keywords, but I didn't really give it a whole lot to work with. I should have taken that list it just gave me, plugged it in, and said, write me an Etsy title using these keywords. And I bet it would, oh man, I should have done that. That would have been a way cooler thing. Anyway, I then said to it to make an edit. I said, hey, add it for fish keepers. Add that it's for fish keepers. Sorry. It said blue and yellow betta fish watercolor painting for fish keepers, abstract aquatic art. So again, I think that went up a little bit, but yeah, I think that's what I should have done. I should have taken all those keywords and then said, or I should have taken the ones that I liked. That'd be a better way to do it. Take the ones you like, plug it into this, and say, write me a product description for this thing. It's going to get to a point where it can start looking at pictures for us, and I mean, I bet this thing gets really smart. But until then, this is kind of what you can do, and it can just give you that base. And so instead of sitting there with a blank piece of paper saying, all right, how do I write my first thing? You can instead say, let me use this as a tool to help get what I'm doing. So, guys, I think this is a pretty awesome thing. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have, where did I do it? Right here. I said to ChatGPT, write me a podcast description on how Etsy shop owners can use ChatGPT to help them manage their time better for their shops. And it wrote me the exact description that you see in this podcast. So this, I don't want to get overly excited here, but holy smokes, what a great tool. And especially where I know so many of Etsy shops, their creativity lies within their hands. They build things. They're really good at this kind of stuff. And then when they get into the online side, they're like, my gosh, I'm kind of overwhelmed by this. I don't really know where to start. And I think this is the tool that's going to help you start, and it's free. So if you want to know what it is, the website is, you just Google search chatopenai.com, chat.openai.com, or you can just Google search ChatGPT, and you go in there and you create an account and you go. If this AI ends up taking over your life and, you know, becoming your identity and you lose and it's like an iRobot thing, I'm so sorry if that's what happens. I have my hands are clean of if that's the case. I do not know either way, but I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories around it or whatever. But in the meantime, you can save a lot of time if that's something that you're into to get some great results. So I actually have one more thing that I want to mention here, and then we will call this episode over. So I want to talk quickly about the growth program that I'm currently doing. I had my first group in October, and then I did a group in November, and then I took December off because I was traveling. And then in January, I got my group back, and we're currently about halfway through the month at this point. And this has been awesome. I've shared this before. I used to do these growth reports, and I just did not like that I was hitting people with fire hoses and then leaving. And as much as I felt like that's what Etsy shops wanted, like if you said, like, do you want me to just come in and tell you exactly what you need to do? And they're like, heck yes. But it wasn't what they wanted. And that's what it was kind of a hard thing to kind of come to terms with, was like, well, I know this is what you want, but it isn't what's actually good for you. And as I've been doing this now, I feel like now that I'm 3 months in and I've been able to kind of follow people along the process, like, yes, this is what's working. This is how to do it. We need to spend a month in your shop. And I take really small groups, somewhere between 4 and 6 people at a time in a month. So I know your store inside out. It's very tailored. It's very one-on-one. I've met with, just this week, I stayed on extra with these 2 girls, and we just went over an hour over their ads and really combed through things to make sure that they were getting the best results out of that. Like, this is a really, really hands-on program that I'm doing. The one frustration that I currently have with it is the waiting list process. I really don't like that someone signs up in January and then I email them in June. Hey, I got a spot open for you, because I'm just taking these small bits at a time. And so it's just not good for the sales process. It's not good for the consumer. It's not good for anyone that there's such a wait before you hear from me. And so I kind of experimented with it this last time, which is I just kind of emailed out the list in general, and the first people who wrote me back, I put them into the program. And I want to do that going forward. And so I want you to know that if you join my waiting list at this point, it's no longer a waiting list, but a list to receive an invitation as soon as it opens. And then it just is going to kind of work as a first come, first serve type thing. And I also want to experiment. Well, this is where it gets a little bit further. I want to experiment with having a little bit more conversation before because right now the way it works is you fill out a form. I look at your shop. I'm like, yeah, this is a shop that would do really well within my program. And I send you an invitation to join the program. What I want to do now is kind of have a conversation with the shop owner before. So I want to experiment with what this would look like and get people kind of all on the same page. And so if you either have signed up in the past and have not heard from me or were not able to do it, or you're hearing this and thinking, yes, this is exactly what my shop needs for this year. I really feel like I want to grow and I'm serious about taking my Etsy shop to the next level, please go to growmyetsyshop.com, go to the growth programs tab. I think it's called like growth reports or growth program. Scroll all the way down the bottom and add yourself to the waiting list. I can't make any promises, but I believe I'm going to be reaching out to you pretty shortly and kind of starting a conversation on what your goals are and just kind of looking through your shop and kind of giving some feedback on your shop that I see it as is to see if you are. Anyway, the process is I want people to test this on. And so if you are flirting with the idea of this, there's no cost to putting your name on a list and kind of getting this conversation going. So please go put your name on the list. I would love to kind of experiment with the idea of kind of looking at your shop and going over your shop together before receiving invitations. And so it would help me to be able to do that. But I don't want to do it to people who didn't want that. So I'm now making it official that that's what's going to happen. If you want that, if you're already on the list or you want to be on the list, please just go back and put your name on the list. And sit back and then go from there. Okay, thank you guys. Until next week, see ya.